Hi, and welcome to Tapped into Hudson. I'm Steve Lenox, and I'm the publisher of Tap into Hoboken, Tap into Jersey City, and Tap into Bayonne. We're here another week doing the show remotely. We're still dealing with social distancing and COVID-19, but things are getting back to normal slowly but surely. Last week, we talked to the county folks. We're dealing with the Hudson County vaccination program. It's been going pretty well, and we'll talk to our next guest about that also. Of course, the only holdup is we just can't get enough vaccines in Hudson County into our communities or into New Jersey. And that's something all of the officials are working on from the highest levels straight down to our communities. But before we welcome our guest, I just want to remind people to another sense of normality is the fact that farmers markets are back. And a couple of weeks ago, we welcomed the downtown Jersey City Special Improvement District. And we're very glad to report that their farmers market is going every Thursday from 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock. And it's happening at the Grove Street Path Plaza at North Avenue and Grove Street. Great place to get some good produce, some good desserts, some great food, eat healthy, enjoy the outdoors, and continue to social distance. So please get out to the farmers market. It's going to be running all right through April 22nd, and then it'll expand again. And I hope to see you out there soon. But with that, I want to welcome our first guest, our only guest today, actually. We've got a lot to talk to him about, and that's Hudson County Commissioner Anthony Romano. Commissioner, how are you today?
Okay, sir. Glad to speak to you, my good friend Steve. Especially
good to speak to you too.
This is your season. St. Patrick's coming up.
There's a St. Patrick's Day is coming up, Commissioner. That's right. And as our guests have noted before, Commissioner, we're doing the show remotely from Ireland. It's a little bit different to do a Hudson County talk show from Ireland, but that's the world of COVID-19, isn't it?
Yes, and please remind your Irish constituents, I'm the last honorary Irish Grand Marshal for the last parade.
That's right.
I'm very proud of that fact, and I hope someday to see United Ireland.
Well, I hope to see you in Ireland soon. I love seeing you in Hudson County, but we got to get you over here in the whole Hudson County contingent. We'll have a good time. Commissioner, I want to talk first of all. Let's start with that new title. Let's start with that title of commissioner. I mean, you've been on the board since 2008, 2009 is when you got sworn in, and you were a freeholder all those years. Now you're a commissioner. What's the difference? I know it's really just a name change, but why was that so important to change that?
Well, I think obviously the title commissioner is much more appropriate in this day and time. And for young people, it's much more understandable. I know as growing up, I never understood what a freeholder was until I became a freeholder. And also to certain segments of the community, it's an obsolete, archaic term because it's not an inclusive term. It doesn't include women, people of color, and those that did not own those that did not own land. So now it's a more inclusive term. People feel comfortable, and I'm fine with it.
Good, especially this month as we celebrate Black History Month. And as you've been following, Tap into Jersey City has done some great profiles on some great Black leaders in Jersey City. And that's something you've been very supportive of. Commissioner, I want to talk now a little bit about your political career. You've been around a long time. You started on the school board. You got elected to the Board of Commissioners. You've run for mayor a few times. You've been in some political battles, haven't you? You've been through the wars in Hudson County.
My baptism under fire, as I remember when I first got thrown into this, it's not something that I planned in my life. It wasn't even something that planned when it happened. It happened so abruptly at the last minute. I remember I turned to Senator Menendez for some advice, and he said, well, you're going to earn your office now. I had to run against, at that time, in the Democratic primary, a very tough opponent in Frank Rea, who had a vast amount of resources. And it was a bloody, bloody political battle. And I was fortunate to come out on top. And it's been always, I just recently, my Democratic primary against the progressive, Ron Batista, was also a tough battle. And along the way, I've always had tough opponents. As the senator always says, treat every race as if you're losing. And I think that's important to do.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Commissioner, a few weeks ago, we welcomed Hudson County Democratic Chairwoman Amy Tagis and also Hudson County Republican Chairman Jose Arango onto the show. And they talk about politics, in a way different than what we saw at the national level back in January, getting away from this hatred for each other. The fact that we wear an R or a D on our sleeve shouldn't matter in terms of how we treat each other personally and professionally. I get the sense you carry yourself the same way. I mean, you tend to get along with most people. I think you respect most of the people you deal with, if not all the people. What's your philosophy in terms of party building and politics and how this should all work?
I always follow the dictum when I was young. I always followed, they fascinated me. Two great Irish American politicians, Tip O'Neill of the Democratic Party and Ronald Reagan of the Republican Party. And they handled themselves with so much decorum, even if when they disagreed on a topic, they could go sit down and have a drink together and have a laugh. I think that decorum has been lost in this country, a respect for each other. You mentioned two wonderful people, friends of mine. I've known Jose Arango since I was very young. He was close to one of my father's friends, Ron Dario, and Jose has always been a gentleman towards me. And Amy DeGise, I think, has been a fantastic choice to be chair of the Democratic Party, and she's going to make a wonderful council person because she has that ability that I feel I have. We try to work with people. I don't label people Democrats. I don't label Republicans. And I said today I had to speak at the Hudson County Schools of Technology to a class. We talked about it's Black History Month. And by the way, Hoboken's had some many Black pioneers that should never be forgotten. Joanne Jackson, Jean Drayton, Leo Smith. There has been so many that hopefully this month that we remember them. But when you talk to someone, the respect should be as the person, not because they happen to be African American or Irish American. You should respect that person because they're that person, not because of what their ethnic group is. And the same thing with the Republicans and Democrats. We've lost here. I mean, the things that are going on in the national level are horrifying. And this country was built on the centrist values of moderation, not the extremists on the left, not the extremists on the right, and not anyone that's going to call civil chaos and name calling and social media, the things that are being said about people and the threats. It's just something that is unbelievable. And how do we get back to that? I think it goes back to our faith and humility. I mean, that's what we have to start back to and remember that this is about the people that we serve.
I think that's great. And that was going to be my next question. How do we get back to that civility? When we come back in the next segment, what I want to talk about too is you mentioned Tip O'Neill there, the former Speaker of the House, and he's famous for the quote, all politics is local. And you've been a local guy all your life. You've been a Hoboken guy through and through. So, Commissioner, we're going to take a break for a couple of minutes. As you know well, we're going to come back and we're going to talk a little bit about the local politics in Hoboken. Thank you so much.
Jersey City, Don't forget me, Hoboken and Jersey City. They've been my life.
Hoboken and Jersey City, of course. Absolutely. We'll be right back.
Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, Jersey City. Hudson County's only monument maker, serving all faiths and cemeteries. Design, studio, and large inventory on site. Cemetery inscriptions and custom orders welcome. Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, just south of Secaucus Road. Craftsmanship that will last for all eternity. Burns Brothers, Jersey City, Albert H. Hopper, North Arlington. Visit us on the net. Consumer Carpets, 3408 Kennedy Boulevard in the Jersey City Heights. Your one-stop store for residential and commercial floor treatments. Carpeting, linoleum, tiles, laminates, hardwood floors, area rugs, remnants. All major brands, all in stock. Free estimates, same-day installation. Consumer Carpets, it's savings, selection, installation. Credit cards and debit cards accepted. Financing available. Consumer Carpets, price to fit your budget, installation to fit your schedule. On the net at consumercarpets.com. Consumer Carpets, Jersey City, 201-792-2712.
Stevens Jersey City Ford, located right off of NJ 440 North. Across the Hudson Mall is your one-stop for all your automotive needs. Check out Ford's latest models like the 2020 Ford Fusion with its stylish looks and hybrid options, or the unparalleled high-performance 2020 Ford Mustang. The 2020 Ford F-150 Raptor is ready for those rugged off-road terrains with trail control. Need a mid-sized truck for your towing and hauling? The 2020 Ford Ranger will deliver. The 2020 Ford Escape is a luxury SUV that was made for comfort and adventure on the go. Returning is Ford's legendary Bronco, which takes you back to the true meaning of off-roading. They are now available for pre-order in our showroom or on our website. Let us help you find your next vehicle. Stevens Jersey City Ford, 201-432-7272.
Okay, we're back to Tapped into Hudson. We've welcomed Commissioner Anthony Romano onto the show today. Just before we left for the break, he corrected me, rightly so. I mentioned Hoboken. Commissioner Romano is also a Jersey City guy. He grew up in Jersey City. He represents part of Jersey City on the Board of Commissioners, and he wants to talk a little more about Jersey City. I think he wants to show off his Jersey City bona fides, if you will. Commissioner, welcome back to the show. Thank you so much for sticking around.
Thank you. Appreciate it. It's an honor to be on your show.
This all started by me being on your show back in the summer, and that's how I got to know our good friend Pat O'Melia. So thank you for the opportunity. But let's talk about Jersey City, because I took away part of your background. You grew up in Jersey City. You did some of your schooling in Jersey City.
My father is from downtown Jersey City, and like historically, Hoboken has been a little brother or little sister to Jersey City, going all the way back to the days of Frank Hague and Barney McFeely, and even before that, when the connections that you had. And Jersey City has been part of my life. My father, as I said, grew up there. He was one of the founders of the St. Lucy's Catholic War Veterans in downtown, and watching their teams play softball. They were very the Holy Name Society. Getting to meet all those that went off to the war, and then going to school myself in Jersey City, St. Peter's Prep, then St. Peter's University, and then for my graduate degree at New Jersey City University, and then the many friends made working together with the members of the Jersey City Police Department, one of the finest police departments in the state, if not the country, and also having the honor of representing part of Jersey City. I mean, I've been fortunate to represent two cities that are dear to me. I mean, I love all 12 cities we have in our county, but obviously Hoboken and Jersey City have a special place in my heart.
You mentioned something interesting there, and this wasn't something I thought to ask you, but when you talk about your schooling, when we think about Hudson County, we think about Hoboken, we think about Jersey City. As you said, we've got Stevens Tech, we've got Hudson County Community College, we've got St. Peter's, we've got New Jersey City University. I mean, those two cities are really a hotbed of higher education. How important is that to those communities?
Well, I'm honored to be part of the Hudson County Community College Board. I am the commissioner representative, and also on the Hudson County Schools of Technology, their board. Stevens, I have a very close relationship. And interestingly enough, before I was born, my mother worked for Stevens in the Davidson Laboratory when the U.S. Navy was working on and the founding of the nuclear propulsion, which eventually went into the Nautilus, the submarine Nautilus, and the aircraft carrier Enterprise. That came from the Davidson Lab in Stevens. St. Peter's University had the good fortune to host Martin Luther King. St. Peter's University had the great diverse basketball team that was legendary, the Run Baby Run team, the 67, 68 Peacocks. New Jersey City University. Most of the teachers that came from this area came from the New Jersey City University, which has a great master's program, which I was proud to be part of, one of the first in the area for criminal justice. And they're all, and Hudson County Community College is now probably ranked, if not the top community college in the state, right near the top. And if you can look at the physical plants, what we have done as far as new buildings and state-of-the-art tech centers and libraries, it's just a phenomenal school. And I'm glad to be part of it. A lot is happening here. We have now the Police Academy, or I should say the Public Safety Institute. That's the proper term, led by Mark Miller, who's doing a great job. And I think these educational institutions are going to hook up also with the Academy, Hudson County Community. And Stevens under Dr. Navarin has come to another level. They're into their high tech, and it's exciting times to be around. And Hoboken needs it for the economy. Jersey City needs it for the economy, because the students that are now living on campus, both campuses now have increased their ability and capability to house students. And it's a good experience for those to want to learn about urban living.
That's right. That's right. And when we talk about Hudson County College, we haven't had a chance to report on it. It's only happened a couple hours ago. But of course, Governor Murphy was at Hudson County Community College today, wasn't he? He was signing some legislation to increase college affordability. Were you part of that bill signing today?
Yes, yes. But what happened was I was supposed to be there, but we did a taping, which I felt was important to me. I was given the opportunity to speak to 90 students virtually at Hudson County, a high-tech school. And this was an opportunity I felt that was more important to speak with the students about careers, answer their questions with regard to county government. And I explained that to a county executive, and he said, no problem. And to myself, I wish I was there. I always go to everything. And we're going to have a formal opening of one of the buildings too. But again, to me, the students come first.
Well, from one teacher to another former teacher, I'm sure, Executive G certainly understood your decision there. You mentioned the Public Safety Academy, and before we get into that, before you ever served as a commissioner or ever thought about elected office, you spent, was it 30 years with the Hoboken Police Department? I mean, that's an incredible run you had there.
A very enjoyable experience.
Yeah. A couple of weeks ago, we had a retired Deputy Chief Jimmy Carroll joined us on the show. I know, a good friend of yours, and he talked a little bit about the difference in policing from the 25 years he served and his father served before him, of course. To give us your take on that, how has policing changed over the past decades?
Well, ironically, Jimmy Carroll's father and my father served around the same time. They knew each other, again, because my father's connection in Jersey City. And policing has evolved in many ways. I think the education standards, those serving Jimmy's father and my father were either veterans of the World War II or the Korean War, and they came back and they were the sons of immigrants, Italian and Irish immigrants experience. Jimmy and I are both grandchildren of immigrants, and I think that education plays a dominant role. When I became a police officer, I was probably in one of the first groups that education was emphasized. I was fortunate to have my degree when I became a police officer at the early age of 22. And Jimmy was a fellow prep graduate, a brilliant man in his own right. He's an attorney and just a great guy, and someone too that knows how to bridge gaps. He has that political world. He's always almost was an elected official, and he served the department well. And we've seen changes: body cameras, community policing, and also I think the important thing to know with the change in policing in Hoboken and Jersey City, these were urban centers that became phenomenal cities during the golden industrial age, and then they collapsed economically. There was the flight. There was the civil disturbances in both Hoboken and Jersey City, which Jimmy's father and my father served during that time. Out of that evolved the gentrification and the reformation of both Hoboken and Jersey City into the modern urban chic cities, you may say, that they are now. And it's a different community that we serve. We still have our immigrants community, but at the same time, now we have the young urban professionals, and community policing is the catchphrase and that is used right now. And it's a difficult job. As I said, I was lucky, and Jimmy also, I'm sure, that we loved our job. I was blessed. I always thank God. How many people have professions they don't love? I was fortunate to be in 3 professions that, policing obviously is my number one love. Then I was fortunate to be a teacher at 3 different levels, and then to be granted the privilege of serving Jersey City and Hoboken, being elected by the people. And policing has changed, and policing needs to continue to change to reform itself. I believe, for example, there should be more periodic psychological evaluations, because people see things when they're in urban police department that can affect them. And they need to be able to talk to someone. Years ago, that macho image was you don't talk to anybody but fellow police officers. You drink it away. The highest rate of suicide, of alcoholism, of domestic abuse was in the profession. So you need to reform and clean that up. There is some definite things that need to change. If there's a bad apple in the barrel, you remove the apple. You don't destroy the barrel.
And it was these changes, I think, that drove the desire to bring the Hudson County Public Safety Academy to fruition, right? You wanted to be able to educate these police officers locally so they could sort of see what they were learning and learn what they were going to be teaching and what they were going to be practicing. Commissioner, we're going to take another break. We'll come back in about a minute, and we're going to talk a little more. Of course, we can't forget COVID-19 is out there, and I want to chat with you about the county's response to COVID-19. Thank you so much, and please stick with us.
Pen and Pencil Properties, Jersey City. Shaping the workplace with state-of-the-art office spaces that address your company desires. Building residences that define your home environment, adjacent to all modes of transportation with on-site parking available. The right address, the right lease. Call 201-521-9000 or visit online at penandpencilproperties.com. Pen and Pencil Properties, building Jersey City for everyone.
Newport, the luxury waterfront community on the Hudson River, offers the quality of life you deserve in 10 high-rise rental towers with amenities such as the on-site Newport Path subway, light rail and ferry service, Newport Town Square, 3 playgrounds, dog run, upscale restaurants, retail giants like Sears, JCPenney, Macy's, and Target. Morton Williams Supermarket is just outside your front door. A health and fitness club, spa, skating rink, and medical facilities are also on site. NewportNJ.com. Enjoy the New York skyline from Newport Town Square. Manhattan is just one path stop away or quick ride through the Holland Tunnel. Nursery and private elementary schools all on site. 12-screen movie theater at the Newport Center Mall. Want to visit Newport? Stay at the Westin or Marriott Hotel. Go to NewportNJ.com for details. Newport has luxurious towers, great restaurants, shopping, New York skyline views, schools, playgrounds, a marina and yacht club, gym, spa, fine wine, fine living. It's incredible. It's you. NewportNJ.com. Newport, live like you want.
We have to be able to police ourselves because we don't want anybody to tarnish our badge.
When internal affairs complaints are not handled properly, the public may believe that most officers commit crimes, when in fact that's not true. Most officers are professional. Most officers do not commit crimes.
If complaints aren't taken properly and the community that we serve doesn't have a trust in the police department, I mean, there has to be legitimacy. If the community doesn't trust the police, how could we effectively serve them? And by having a really comprehensive internal affairs unit that handles the complaints properly and people have trust in the system, it enables us to do our entire job as a police department much better.
We need the community as much as they need us. So that citizen that has lost trust in the community could be a very important witness for us tomorrow.
Hi, we're back to Tapped into Hudson. We've got Commissioner Anthony Romano joining us today. We were talking about the Hudson County Public Safety Academy in the last segment. Before we get into COVID-19 in this third and shortened segment, we want to get back to the Hudson County Police Academy. Commissioner, you wanted to say a little more about that?
To that, one of my dreams when I became a commissioner was to hopefully have an academy. Was one of the few counties in the state that did not have an academy. And when municipal academies were not allowed anymore, this county didn't even have anything. And that was always a dream of mine. And I think that along with a lot of the people, Tom DeGeese brought it to fruition. But you got to remember there was retired Lieutenant Craig Guy, retired Lieutenant Patty McCarthy, retired Deputy Chief Lockwood, retired Deputy Chief Mike Kenny. All these people wanted to see this come to fruition. And Mark Miller is the right person at the right time to do this. He is another retired Deputy Chief of Jersey City. And I think it's important for the people to know that our officers need to be trained in everything up to date and to understand the urban experience of urban policing. So I just wanted to put that out there, that this is, I think, a good thing for our community and for all of our constituents and all our police departments. So my kudos to all that involved.
Yeah, no, thank you for clarifying that. I find it very interesting. You mentioned some of those retired policemen, Craig Guy and Patty McCarthy and Mark Miller. They come from different generations themselves, different generations of policing. But they also, like you, they recognize this move towards more community-oriented policing, this celebration of the diversity that exists in the cities that the police officers of Hudson County patrol. So I think that's great. But, before we wrap the show up, we have to talk about COVID-19. And during the break, you said that, there was a poll done recently, and, by and large, residents across the state, I think, to put it mildly, they're concerned about the rollout, how vaccinations have been rolled out. But those numbers didn't add up the same way in Essex County or Hudson County. It seems people in Hudson County are impressed with the rollout. You guys, the commissioners, and certainly Hudson County Executive DeGeese have really done a good job. What's the difference been in Hudson County?
Let me again, it goes back to team effort. When a group puts the group together, and it's not about it's a we thing. And I got to start at the county exec's office with Tom and Craig and Patty. I think that's started the ball rolling. And what we do out in that facility is a tribute to 4 organizations. Carrie Nowicki is the head of Hudson County Regional. She is the spear that has really gotten this going with a mojo and an energy and a real leadership. She stepped forward with her and her staff. Norman Guerra and the HCIA, what they have done, their people are there. The Hudson County Sheriff's offices, to make sure everything has gone smoothly. They have all gelled and worked together, not as separate entities, to make this possible. I have received nothing but compliments on how the county has run this vaccination program at the Juno Center in Kearney. It's been organized. No one's been denied. Whatever supplies we have are utilized. And it's a drive-through program. You don't even have to get out of your car. Due to my, I tried to put it off, but due to my recent illness, I was told that I had to get the shots, and the second one sent me for a loop last week. But they're just doing a phenomenal job, and it's a we approach, and they've just done everything to make this program succeed. And I'm very proud to be a part of it and support them in any way. And again, it's a shout out to all of them. But Carrie Nowicki has been the spear to get this moving, and her staff.
We hosted Carrie last week on Tapped into Hudson along with Dave Drummeller, and they certainly, as you said, they brought an enthusiasm to the show.
Yes.
And certainly they're bringing that same enthusiasm to the Juno Center without a doubt. So Commissioner, recently the county launched a public awareness campaign, because there's still plenty of communities out there, plenty of residents that they're apprehensive to get the jab, as they say here in Ireland. Get the jab. They're still scared to do it for whatever reason. What's your message to those folks? You just want them to get vaccinated, don't you?
From someone that had not the severest case of COVID, but not the mildest. I was out of action for almost 2 weeks. It was a very scary feeling. My full breathing capacity didn't return for a few months later. I think that's important. I emphasize it to you for those who have not, that are eligible to take the shot. Please do, because right now that's all we have to protect ourselves. I've lost friends that have passed away from COVID. There's fellow police officers that have some permanent damage. When I went to my doctor at Sloan yesterday, he spoke to me about cases they have where some things that have happened because of COVID to people was just unbelievable. So I'm learning that it is important. And in fact, that even some young people get it. One of my bartenders recently in my family's establishment, and it's not a good thing. And for the older, very elderly, it's important to be protected from this horrible pandemic. So please, if you have the opportunity, I ask you to please get the shot.
Commissioner, that's a great way to wrap up the show. And that's really how we've wrapped up the show every week since October when we started it. We wish we could be together. I look forward to being in the studio with you, maybe even visiting Louise and Jerry soon. I always enjoy stopping by and saying hello. But with that, we do have to wrap up the show. As we say every week, stay apart, stay safe, stay healthy. We'll get together soon, but until it's safe to do so, we gotta stay away from each other and stay masked up. And now we have to get vaccinated. Commissioner, thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to you coming back on as a guest soon. Thank you.
Always an honor, Steve. To you and your family, stay safe. God bless. And to everyone watching, please take care of yourselves and God bless.